Have you ever had that feeling? You've got the perfect solution, the data to back it up, but you just can't get anyone to see it your way? Well, today we're diving into how AI is acting like a truth serum for business data, making the invisible suddenly very, very visible.
And this quote right here, it just hits the nail on the head. This is the core frustration for so many people. Data scientists, consultants, you name it. You can build the most beautiful, logical case in the world. But if the people in charge can't see it reflected in their own reality, in their own numbers, it's just noise. So let's get into a real-world story. There was this case study built around a brilliant idea called green inventory management. I mean, on paper, it was flawless. The logic was sound, the numbers added up, it should have been an easy sell. But when it was presented to actual companies, total skepticism.
And the reason it flopped? It was always the same response. Yeah, that's nice, but it won't work with our operations. And that's the key, isn't it? A generic theory just feels like homework. To really get people on board, you have to bridge that gap between a cool idea and their day-to-day business.
Okay, so what exactly was this green inventory idea that was so tough to get across? Let's break it down because it's actually pretty straightforward. At its heart, it's all about being way smarter about how you restock stores. The whole point is to tweak the process so you're not just saving money and cutting down on physical waste, but you're also seriously shrinking your carbon footprint. It's supposed to be a win-win-win situation. You see, most companies use a really simple automated system for this. Think of it like this. Every few days, let's call that R, the computer takes a look at the inventory. It figures out how much stuff you need to get back up to your ideal stock level, we'll call that S, and then it just automatically orders that amount. Sounds efficient, right?
Well, here's the million-dollar question. What happens when that simple system is actually a quiet disaster? What if those settings for RNS are just wrong? What if they're secretly creating chaos all the way down the supply chain?
Because the ripple effects are huge. A bad policy means people in the warehouse are constantly breaking open full cases just to pick one or two items. That means more waste. It means more frequent, smaller shipments, which means trucks are driving around half empty, and that all adds up to more trips, more fuel burned, and a ton more CO2 pumped into the atmosphere. These are the hidden costs that nobody was connecting the dots on.
So the whole approach had to change. Forget the static PowerPoint deck. What if instead you could give the team an interactive AI analyst, a tool that could help them finally see the truth right there in their own data? All right, let's meet our main character, a supply chain director. He's juggling 4 different teams: inventory, warehouse, transport, sustainability. And they all have their own goals, their own priorities. Instead of another boring report, he gets this AI tool that can simulate scenarios using his company's actual sales and operations data. Now, every manager can play around with their ideas and instantly see how it affects everybody else. And they didn't kick things off with some thick user manual. Nope. They just started by asking the AI a simple question, in plain English. That's a game changer right there, moving from being lectured at to being able to explore and ask questions yourself. Now check out how the AI answered. It didn't just spit out a dictionary definition. It immediately laid out a collaborative game plan. It said, okay, inventory team, you own the review period. Warehouse, you're in charge of lead time. In one move, it broke down the silos and gave everyone a clear role to play. And this is where the light bulbs really start to go off. With this new framework, the team was finally ready to take a hard look in the mirror and see what was actually going on. This is that aha moment. The director just typed it in. No code, no complicated formulas, just a simple request. Show us the state of our union. Run the numbers on what we're doing right now. And boom, the AI instantly fires back with this executive summary. It's short, sharp, and brutally honest. It flags that only 65% of their cartons are being shipped full. It puts a hard number on their CO2 emissions. But most importantly, it connects the dots for them and then ends with a stark warning. Keep this up and you will miss your sustainability goals. All of a sudden, the problem wasn't abstract anymore. It was staring them right in the face. So now the team can see the problem loud and clear. But that brings up the next hurdle, and it's a big one. Getting 4 different managers, each with their own turf to protect, to agree on one path forward. This is where things get really interesting. As you'd expect, everyone came to the table with a different fix based on what they knew best. The inventory manager wants to tweak one thing, the transport manager wants to do another, and now the director is stuck in the middle of this tug of war, with 4 conflicting ideas and no clear way to decide which one is best. And this is the AI's checkmate move. The director feeds all these competing ideas into the tool, and the AI doesn't just crunch numbers, it creates this beautiful, simple comparison matrix that puts all the trade-offs on one screen. But then, look at that last row. The AI does something incredible. It doesn't just pick a winner, it creates its own option, a consensus plan that synthesizes the best parts of everyone's ideas. And to make it a no-brainer, the AI generates this scorecard. It shows each and every manager why this consensus plan is a win for them specifically. Inventory gets better flow, the warehouse gets more efficiency, transport gets fuller trucks, and the sustainability team gets a huge emissions cut. It wasn't about compromise, it was about finding a solution where everybody won. And that's all it took. Just one clear, data-driven plan that everyone could see and understand. That's what it took to get 4 different teams on the same page and convince a director who started out as a total skeptic. So the real takeaway here is that the AI didn't just give them answers, it created a sandbox, a common ground where the whole team could see the impact of their decisions, understand the trade-offs, and build a better plan together. By making the data interactive and personal, it gave them a sense of ownership, and that cleared the way for real change. And that really leaves us with a huge question, doesn't it? This whole story was about a supply chain, but you could apply this principle anywhere. Just think about all the other complex challenges businesses face. What other invisible truths are buried deep in our data, just waiting for the right tool to come along and help us finally see them?